All right. Welcome, welcome. So glad you guys are here today. And we have the pleasure of having Jolene here to teach us today about our circulatory system. It's interesting to me that I joined this company 8 years ago with almost zero knowledge of my very own physical body. And I just have come to learn so much. Didn't know I had a lymph system, didn't know, just have learned a lot about how we can help our body, heal our body, and support our body. And so I'm super excited to learn about the circulatory system today. I just wanted to share with you the most recent thing that I've been doing with my oils, and it's going to be about MetaPower, of course, because MetaPower has been changing my life. But what I love to do is I put a few drops in here of the MetaPower oil and I drink it empty right now. I have a glass straw. I love the feeling of satiety that it gives me, and that I am able to not feel hungry and not feel, I just feel satiated. I have not had this feeling in my life. So it's very different. I still eat and snack out of habit and maybe just bad habit of desire for things, but I don't do it nearly as much. And I quite often make better choices. I think having this in my system, maybe it's the assist as well. So the assist is part of the system that keeps us from going up and down with our glucose spikes. And I think it's helped me have a very even keel. So I'm very thankful for MetaPower. I just wanted to shout it from the rooftops. The joints are still doing fantastic and zero pain, and I just credit it to the collagen and MNN that is in our wonderful Advantage product. So encourage you to take it daily. Use the sachets in a small amount of water. Take it quick. And then I saw on Sherry's Facebook today that the best way for assist is right before or during your meal, and then take the Terrazyme later after the meal. And so not to put those two together. So just one more little tip for you there. So many blessings. And does anybody else have something they want to share? Something they were like, oh, I can't wait for oil stories. I have something I want to share. All right. Okay, we'll move on. I'm very excited to have Jolene here. Jolene is a dear friend who I've met through the oils and through some other ways. I guess she knew me before I knew her, but it was very much a blessing. I've had, I should probably start a list of the handful of people in my life that have brought to my life the encouragement to go and do the things I need to do in life. And that's what Jolene is for me. She is a dear friend that I feel can give me direction and a little push in the areas I need to go. She's similar in age, similar in lots of children, similar in lots of grandchildren. We have a lot of similarities in our lives. She is recently moved to Utah, and many of her children have followed her. So some of her 6 children have moved there and are moving there, and she's building a beautiful home there with her husband. It's just going to be a joy. So if you want to visit a beautiful place in Utah, it's called Hatch, Utah, where she going to live as the house gets done up on a mountain. And I've stood on the empty lot and looked out. Her view is like a postcard. So she's going to be living where it's gorgeous, and hopefully she'll share some more things with you in that way. We'll turn time over to you, Jolene. Thank you for being here. Thanks for teaching for us.
So I always have oil stories. I just know I'm going to be talking a lot, so that's why I didn't share some of those. But so just want to start out saying that everything that Jolene said about me and about our relationship goes all the way around. So it's been a fun thing. And it's just one of the many, many, many blessings that oils has brought into my life. And I can't imagine not having them in my life at any time or in any way. So, and about Utah, if you do come to Utah, Panguitch is easier to find than Hatch, if you know how to spell it. I should see anyone try spelling it in the comments, and if you get it right, I ought to do something. Not looking it up, just try to spell it. It's an Indian name, and so I've had to memorize how to spell it. but it's right here by Bryce Canyon. So that in itself is incentive enough. Heather, that's because you know it.
Yeah.
I'll give you something.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how you spelled it.
Yeah,
Oh.
it means big fish in Indian.
Okay.
So yeah, so what brings you down to this area is Bryce Canyon. So when she says our view looks out, it's the back side of Bryce Canyon, and you can see the red canyons from there. So it's worth a trip. So today, Jolene asked me to talk about the circulatory system. So that already being said, don't let that sway you when I ask you this next thing. Everyone who's on here needs to get out a piece of paper and a pencil. Take a minute to go get that. Okay. What I want you to do is I'm going to name 3 things, and I want you just to write down. So write 1, 2, 3 with the space in between. And I want you to write down the first thing that comes to mind when I say each of these things, okay? Okay, number 1, clean eating. Okay. Number 2, exercise. Number 3, emotional health. Okay. Keeping those there, we are talking about the circulatory system. The circulatory system is one of the many body systems that we have that helps us function and to stay healthy. It consists of the heart, the blood, and the blood vessels. Its main job is to carry oxygen throughout the body to the cells, and then to carry waste from the cells out of the body. That's its main function. So you can tell I'm not a terribly sciencey person. I had to like break it right down to where I could tell my little kids, grandkids. To keep our circulatory system functioning properly, it's important to keep our heart healthy and maintain a healthy blood pressure. The human body is fascinating. It's an efficient machine that requires the cooperation of various body systems. So physical health is dependent on physiological balance, or having our body into homeostasis, which is only possible when all the body systems are functioning properly. Lifestyle habits, including regular internal use of essential oils, can support a healthy coordination and cooperation of all of our body systems. So what we're talking about today is just what I had to ask about, is by a healthy eating habits, a routine of exercising, and educated essential oil use are habits that can help support the health and function of our cardiovascular system. Having a hard time talking today. Haven't talked yet. No one's been at my house, so this is my first time talking today. Okay, so as we talk, remember, you can't do everything all at once. That's so important as we go into this journey. You can't do everything all at once. So as we talk, I want you to identify 1 or 2 things that you can start with and then add another over time. Remember, little steps make big changes in our life. I think when I start feeling like I'm failing, it's when I try to do all of it and thinking all of this, I have to put all of that in place. And so then I try and I'm overwhelmed and give up within the first day. There's no way to sustain everything all at once. It's 1 step at a time. And choose those things with all these things that we're going to talk about. Choose those that stand out to you and then highlight that in your notes. Don't try to write down every single thing and say, okay, I'm going to get all of this in there. listen to what resonates to you right now and how it resonates to you. Okay. And then ask questions and share all along the way. Okay. Okay. So the first one is clean eating. How many are surprised that that's what we're talking about very first for cardiovascular health?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
So it is like our foundational thing for our heart. What we put in our body directly impacts the health of our heart. So I'm probably going to go through these a little bit fast. I'm hoping for some interaction and some insight with some of these. So I'm just bringing them up. But some of the main things that I, as I was searching this, that it talks about with clean eating, because it can get really overwhelming. Is it, when I say clean eating, what are some of the things you put on your paper?
I said vegetables.
Organic.
Vegetables, what else?
Organic.
Organic. Okay. To me, I put overwhelming because it's hard to get, the stuff that we think that should be clean. And then it's like, one person will say this is clean, then someone else will say that same item isn't clean, or that even if it's a carrot, is it grown in the right place? Is it, and they make it just so overwhelming, you just like shut down, right? Okay, so just a couple of things to think about that really stood out to me is number one, whatever you pick up the counter stuff, if it has 5 ingredients or less, consider it clean eating. Okay, pretty easy, isn't it? And to keep in mind that if you can't pronounce something on the label, you probably don't want to use it. Okay.
Good point.
Okay. Whole Foods.
Can I tell you something? I got an app recently because we've been talking about detoxifying a lot, and it's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. And so I'm able to scan any food. It's got a little carrot for its emblem, but for its anyway, I scan any food and it will tell me 0 to 10, if it's good for you or not. And I have been so shocked because there's some things in my house that I'm like, Kodiak waffle mix, Kodiak power cakes. I'm like, spend the extra, buy this healthy protein packed thing. And it said, oh, this one does out of 100, 27 out of 100. And it's poor. And then it tells me why it gives it that way and the good things about it. And then the additives and the sodium, it has way too much sodium. That's why I got such a low, the positives and the negatives. And then it gives you recommendations. Anyway, I've been amazed at how many things that I thought I was making healthy choices. Now, I'm not saying that's just go by that all the time, but we don't have enough information sometimes, I think.
That's so true. I'm glad that you brought that up. I hadn't had the name of that. I'd heard about it, but that's an awesome thing to use. It's surprising what is around us. So, okay. So the next one is Whole Foods, especially if it's out of your own garden or reliable places that you can get it. The whole you can use, the better in your diet, and our bodies already know how to handle that. So, and with that is greens. Have you heard about having greens your entire life? How many are good about getting their greens in? Good. I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Take my LLV. I'm sure there's some greens in there.
Yeah, there's a few ways that we can get them in that make it a whole lot easier. But when people talk about juicing and the huge benefits of juicing, I mean, there is a whole lot, but I cannot get that into my normal routine, but it's something to think about. If you have access to greens or things like, I heard like kale, kale isn't a natural one that I go to. But did you know that if you massage it in lemon oil, it breaks down those enzymes that make it so distasteful to us, and it makes our body be able to handle it more? So if I ever have a desire to go try kale, it'll be massaging it with lemon oil. but saying that, greens, any way that you can get greens into your body
Hold
is
on just a
extremely
second, Jolene.
helpful.
I'm hearing some feedback, so don't feel bad. I'm just gonna mute myself and mute others just so that we don't have feedback. And then, oops, I muted Jolene. I don't want to do that. And then whenever you want to talk, okay, you'll have to unmute yourself, Jolene. Sorry. Sorry about that. I muted you by accident. Okay,
No,
I'll mute me too. Then we won't have any.
well, then make sure to unmute yourself when you're going to make comments.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay. Okay, so I was saying with the greens, I know that it's not an easy one to get in, but it is important to put in there somewhere. It doesn't mean that you have to have green salads 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, but it does mean that you need to try to get it in there somehow. And the best way is the greens. Has anyone here tried them? Okay, so maybe if you have a specific way that you like to use them, I just like put it in my smoothie. But I've heard that if you just put it in water at night and do it, it's almost like a soothing night drink to have.
Okay, so I put it in water. I like the taste of it. I like the taste of the old one. I thought, oh, it was fine for me because I do like kind of the fresher taste of things. And this one is better than the old version. And I will drink it by itself. You can also sneak it into like your spaghetti sauces or your other way to get your kids in it. Because some people, oh, I have to drink one more thing, but sneak it into your other foods. So, and no matter how many greens you eat, you are not going to get the recommendation that you need daily for it. So supplementing with that is a fantastic. I love it. And I do like it at night because I take a lot of my stuff at night because I actually sleep better. I'm feeding my body what it needs to regenerate. So
the thing is that you cannot overdose on greens. So don't be afraid that you're having too much. And if you think you are, then get on one of these sessions and tell us about it because we might gain some information with it. Okay, so the next one is that you hear all the time that seems to be the hardest in our society is to cut out processed sugar. It's everywhere. And with the stress lives that we live right now, you go to sugar just to like gain that composure. Is anyone else that way? I am. And like, I shouldn't have sugar anywhere in my house with the way I am, but it's a stress reliever thing. And so it's the easiest thing to go to because it is everywhere. It's the easiest thing to grab when we're out usually. But the more you can cut out processed sugars, the more healthy your body is and it's able to process as it should in our bodies. So can you start to see why clean eating is good for our heart, even though we haven't even mentioned the heart in any of this stuff? All of these things, when we go overboard and use the list of ingredients that we shouldn't have, or the sugars, or don't have any of the greens, it puts pressure on our hearts and having to work harder to maintain. And that's why that's really important to have clean eating as we're doing this.
So Jolene, I'm going to put a plug on your sugar. So when we eat our sugar and we always say, oh, that sugar crash, that's because our sugar makes our blood sticky and thicker. Yep. Yeah. And so then your red blood cells are sticking together, and because they're sticky together, they can't oxygenate right. Yeah. So then they're even more tired. So yeah, you can heal yourself very well by eliminating a lot of stuff from your body.
Yeah. There's 100 things. You could do a whole class on sugars and all that, but okay. So products to use to help with our eating clean is the omega fatty acids. So this is, as Jolene was starting to talk about, she gets hers in by our LLB, which is extremely important. If you're not taking that, that should be one of your #1 things to add to your order and give it a try. If you've never taken it, you know that it's a 30-day money-back guarantee. And I've never had anyone send it back.
I have.
Have you?
I had one lady say, I saw no difference. I get just as good as whatever. So those are your micros. And I saw an interesting clip, and basically they're like your background stuff. A lot of people don't notice the difference because they're running in the background. So it's like the software you don't see on your phone that's running everything. That's what your vitamins are doing. So you might not see a massive difference, but they are keeping everything running in the background smoothly. So
they totally are, for sure.
So I just saw that. Thought I'd share it.
The one that I use the most of, and I'll tell you why, but the omega fatty acids. And as it's talking about heart health, this is the number one out of all three of these that makes an impact on your heart. So it's really hard for us to get the omega-3 fatty acids from our diets. Because they're naturally occurring in seafood and in just a few plants. And so we don't live by the sea. We don't eat a lot of seafood. So it's really hard to get in there. So this is a perfect one. So when I say I use the most of it, I should be taking 2 to 3 times the dose of this. I take 1.5 and then I substitute with another one. Because if you have high triglycerides, the omega-3 oils is what they add to your diet in any way you can get them in. So this is really, really important in our heart health because of the fatty acids that it has. The other one that we already talked about, the greens, and then that Jolene mentioned a little bit earlier is how important and beneficial Terrazyme is. And then with the assist, so each of us is going to take that just a little bit differently with how our bodies are. And so I'm glad that Jolene mentioned how that Sherry posted in there, because I talked to Dr. Riggs the other week, and I says, you said something about if I'm diabetic, how are you supposed to take that? And so he clarified it for me. And then Sherry's did even more. But so for me, the assist is really, really powerful. I'm a type 2, but I'm insulin dependent. And so taking that assist helps me, and I can even see how it helps my blood sugars throughout the day with it. But I was confused about the Terrazymes and the assist. So the Terrazyme is an enzyme that breaks down your food so your body can metabolize it. Your assist inhibits the enzyme from working in your body. Okay, that's why you don't want to take them together. So what he's told me to do is I take Terrazyme morning with my morning vitamins when I get up in the morning, and then at night. And then anytime I eat, because it'll break down the extra enzymes that are lingering in your body then. And then when I eat, for each meal that I eat, I take 2 of the assists. Because remember, you don't want that, because you don't want the enzymes to break down so fast that it spikes your blood sugar. And so the assist makes it release slower so you don't have those spikes. Okay. So I found that one of the most helpful and beneficial thing that I've loved, and it makes a difference in how I approach my food, and I appreciate the different things that it does and with our bodies. Okay, so the next one. This is just supposed to be a half hour, right, Jolene? Okay, so we're going to go a little bit fast, but that was one, because it was so amazing to me that how the difference of how that was in your heart. That was the main thing that I wanted to talk about, was the food. But the next one is exercise. How many of you guys love exercising? I know Jolene has got a corner on that. This kind of goes in with how Jolene does it. I wish we had a video, Jolene.
I'll get brave one of these days.
Yeah, tell them what you do.
It's just a virtual headset where it puts you in another world, and it's called Beat Saber. Boxes come at you. I've got contraptions on my hand that make lasers. And so in the beat to music, I am knocking these blocks and cutting them in half, but it's just so much fun. I've been doing it for 6 months now. My core is stronger. My arms are stronger. Everything started to hurt at first. I just deep blued up my body and got through the pain. And now I'm strong and active and moving. And I know it's making a huge difference.
Okay, awesome.
That's how I exercise too. It's a VR headset.
That's awesome. So you guys have just done my whole presentation on exercise. That I wanted to point out right now is that the best thing you can do for your heart is to live a healthy, active lifestyle, and then make it fun, something that you'll stick to, something that makes that you love. Okay.
I can't wait to do it every day. How crazy is that? The first 6 months I've been doing it, and I cannot wait. Now they're coming out with a new VR headset. I borrowed this one from my son while I was experimenting, and it's supposed to be smaller and not quite as cumbersome. And I thought, that's going to be the purchase. I'm just so excited.
That's awesome.
I weed my yard and rake it. That's what I like.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And
So
it's good at it.
When we think about exercise, we think about going to the gym or running it a mile or two, that kind of stuff. That's what you hear all about. But it's about movement, getting out there, moving your body. And if it's not something that you love and that fits who you are and what you do, then you're not going to keep doing it. So don't force yourself into something that you know that you won't maintain. You can try new things, but if it doesn't resonate with you, let it go and find that does. That's why I love what Jolene does. So it's really important because exercise, that movement is so important in our health, and especially for our heart, that it's important to get in there some way. So that's why I want you to remember is to make it fun, something that you'll stick with, something that you love. I call it smiling in the dark. Okay. Some of the oils that help with that, of course, the Deep Blue, the Max, those that help with the pain and the stiffness of it. But consider making sure that you use like Motivate, Peppermint, Wild Orange, and other uplifting scents that just gives you energy, and put that into your routine. And remember, it doesn't have to be hard and a lot, but it just needs to be something. Okay. So the third one is emotional health or self-care. What did you guys put down for that?
What do you take for pain after working out?
Deep Blue polyphenol is what I use.
You said two things, Deep Blue and what else?
Oh, she said Max. That's for like,
sorry.
that helps your body recover. It helps with the energy in that.
Okay.
Return it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, see, I have all my products out here. I just forgot to show you. These are the other two that really help. Because if you do something beforehand to help your muscles through it and then recover.
Love it.
The ones that we use. Okay, emotional health. It's interpreted as self-care.
I wrote self-care. You said emotional help, and I wrote self-care.
Well, that's good. That is what it is. Because there's a lot of things you can do for emotional health.
I'm going to say all of the above that we've talked about.
Okay, very good.
Good nutrition, good supplementation.
When you're doing all of that, it takes care of your emotions.
It helps you cope a whole lot better.
Totally. Okay, so self-care, emotional health is vital because they've done studies with heart and with those who have emotional health or doing self-care. And there's a correlation between the quality of the heart and the hardening of the heart when there is more self-compassion and more self-care in your life. Isn't that interesting? That our emotions can have that kind of a stress on our heart. So two of the ones that I wanted to point out with that is adaptive. Does everyone have really good relationship with how awesome adaptive is? If you haven't, like we should have Heather give her story next time. But I can just my short story with it is, so I'm here in Panguitch, and my mom is 89 years old, and she still lives on her own. She still is just down the street from me now. But it's getting harder and harder to spend a lot of time with her because she repeats the same thing, and we'll just call it dementia, even though it's not diagnosed. And so it's hard, but it's not her fault. It's not like she's trying to do it. And so I go, I told you that 100 times. I don't, okay? I don't ever say that, but my siblings do a lot. And I know that's what we usually do. But the only thing that it's hurting is me, not her, except it makes her shut down. But when I get irritated, and I go, I answered that, and I don't want to take it out on her, and I don't want to feel it. So when I know it's going to be a little bit harder of a day, I can tell when the days are going to go back and forth. I will take 1 to 2 adaptive, and sometimes she'll take it too, and it makes it easier too. But it helps me to stay in that calm spot so that I can do nothing but give love to my mom and not feel any of that in my heart. And to me, that's huge. And because when you feel irritated, where do you feel it? Right in your heart? That's where it's hurting, is your heart. If you're not taking care of yourself and taking those steps to of what you have that you can, then we're not helping all our health, and especially our heart in so many ways. So, and then just have to put a plug in for the aroma touch. If you don't have someone that can do the aroma touch for you, to actually give it to you on your back, you know, the whole 9 yards, then if you've never experienced it, you should find someone that can. But the aroma touch, using it is really good. And also even for exercise, it's good for that. But so what you want to do for yourself is to apply it to the desired areas where you're hurting or where you're feeling the stress, or, you know, whatever, put a couple of drops on it. And then you want to use it in strokes as you're putting it on. I mean, how many of us usually rub it around, or, you know, go back and forth? You want to rub it down away from your heart. Wherever you're putting it on, rub it away from your heart, because it helps to move those toxins and that energy out from being stressful on your heart. Okay. So the whole thing we're talking about here is homeostasis, is what we want our bodies to be in to handle all of the pressures on our heart. And that's one of the things that can do that.
I love it.
And so kind of just in summary of it, the best thing you can do for your heart is to live a healthy, active lifestyle. Be intentional about what you do in your life and put yourself as a priority in that, because then you have a whole lot more to give everyone else that's calling on your attention. So I'll send some other little things, because there's so much you can talk about your heart, and there's a whole list of oils. I have 20 of them out here in case we decided to talk about them or had extra time. But we've talked about the 3 main things that make the biggest difference. And then there's subcategories in each one of those that you might want to look at a little bit more. If you have questions about it, it can ask me or Jolene. But how about varicose veins? Anyone suffer with that? Did you know that that's part of your health, your heart health? Is that? And there's oils to help with that. So there's all kinds of things. So if you have questions, write them down. There's always going on.
What oils for varicose vein?
Helichrysum. Helichrysum is the main one, and then Europalm.
Nice.
So, okay. So this was really fun to go through and to prepare. And I hope that I've helped you look at it in a little bit different way and take to heart. Remember, you can't do all of it. Just do what you can, what stood out to you today.
Thank you so much, Jolene. I love your approach. Simplistic, and we can't change ourselves in a moment, but we can, a lot of moments add up, and that's when we can change ourselves. I'm reading the book, The Slight Edge, for the second time. And it's a book that talks about exactly what you were just saying. The slightest little thing that we do every day makes the hugest difference over time. And it just is amazing how we make slight changes and it can change our life for the better. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your coming today, everybody. Thank you for being here. And next Wednesday, we were going to have a class by Leanne. She is feeling a little better, but she's not up to teaching. So we're picking up a digestion class by Rhonda that she had to postpone a few months ago. So she has had a miraculous change in her digestive health, and she's going to tell her story and how you can get help. So we'll see you next Wednesday. And thank you so much for getting on. Love your picture, Leslie. I don't know, it looks like Willy Wonka gal to me in the back. So.
Jolene, what was the name of that exercise app you're using?
So it's not an app. The exercise is called Beat Saber. And I'm going to send you a little picture of what it looks like, but it's a virtual reality headset. It's actually a headset that you put on so that you're seeing something different than what's in reality. Thus it's virtual reality. And there's tons of games. I don't get into any of it. I'm doing the things that give me exercise on it. So that's why I feel a little guilty about showing it. I'm like, you guys, I'm so embarrassed that this is what I do. But I sweat. You guys, it drips off of me. After 30 minutes, I am dripping, and it takes me a while to recover. That's how hard I work, and it's fun. And so why not do something that's fun? And Diane, I'm actually going to be holding a class, an in-person class. I'm getting out of the box and my ideas for my in-person classes coming up. And I'm going to do one on moving your body where everybody at my house will get a chance to put the headset on and try it and have this experience. So it's going to be fun. Just want to talk about movement and moving our body. So I'll invite you to that too, Diane.
I look forward to it.
Yep. Love you guys. Thanks for getting on. See you next Wednesday.